Ready.
All right, it's 6:50. This is the City of Brainerd Personnel and Finance Committee. Everybody's present, including HRA Director Bergman. Item number 1 is the approval of bills. Any questions on the bills? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Madden, second by Pritchett. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2, the Brainerd HRA lease revenue refunding of 2002 bonds. Anything you want to add to what's in here? Patrick?
Oh, I didn't know if you're looking at Jennifer. I mean, Jennifer's such a regular. She's been here every meeting.
Right.
I think we've just added her to staff. What we do want to add is the fact of the matter is that the HRA went through refunding of the 2002 bonds. You will see on there a significant savings of $53,000, which was higher than what was estimated, but the $53,000 will ultimately save the residents of the city of Brainerd that $53,000 by this refinancing. It is more for informational purposes. We share the same bond consultant through Kennedy and Graven, Martha Ingram. She's very vital to us in our operations in most of the cities in the state of Minnesota, actually. And she recommended that we actually just make sure the council and the public was aware of it, and that's why we are having it here. It's not on consent. There is no action necessary. We wanted you to be aware of it and be fully happy.
Should we just mention that during our P&L? Yep. Okay. Any questions?
Just one question. What form will the savings take for the taxpayer? Is it?
Do you know right off the top of your head? They won't have to levy for that $52,000.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
When I say they, I mean the school district. Well,
And maybe just a little background just for your information. So this was the ISD 181 building, the old Super One Foods. The original bond issue was $4.33 million. The school district used those funds to buy that building, and what's there now is adult education, early childhood education. There's some other activities they do in that building. They are lease revenue bonds. The school district pays the lease. They have never been late in the 12 years that we have done this. This saves them about $50,000, as Patrick mentioned, a little bit more than $50,000 a year, the school district. At the time that these lease revenue bonds are paid off, we deed over the building to the school district and they own it. The school district covers all costs. It costs the HRA nothing. We're essentially a conduit.
Okay.
all good news for the city of Brainerd.
And our partners with the school. Excellent. Any further questions on item 2? Thank you very much. Item 3, newsletter discussion.
As part of the strategic planning process, the city of Brainerd adopted one of the many areas of goals that they'd like to have accomplished. We identified to upgrade the city's website and develop a city newsletter. And when I say we, that was before Dolly and I got here, but we are definitely taking responsibility for that moving forward. Since that time, there have been 3 newsletters that went out. One in
October, November, December.
9-month period that's been covered so far. The funding that was used to pay for that was a grant that was received and has totally been gone through. And at this point in time, we don't have any additional dollars to pay for a future newsletter. I'm not asking the city council or this committee to take a stance tonight, but I'm asking to seek input on how you would like us to proceed. Initially, I understand there was some discussions about possibly selling advertisements. I've done some research. I've worked with other cities that have sold advertisements, and so that is a very viable possibility. We also, when we did the first 3, we sent them out regular postage. We are in conversations right now with BPU about possibly including it with their billing process. Again, the problem is, there is a problem because they have more customers than just the city of Brainerd. They have outside, about 30% of their customers are outside of the city of Brainerd. So we are looking at different avenues there. But I'm looking for your input, being that I wasn't here a year ago and when this was all talked about. And well, how would you like us to proceed?
I know how I would. I don't want to cut you guys up, but I certainly wouldn't put another one out that costs us money. How about if we just put it online?
That's kind of what I was thinking, you know.
For now.
Or could we even send out, how much does it cost for a mailing?
Mailing was $1,500. Putting together postage and about $2,500 per newsletter.
You know, I'd say put it online and pursue the advertisements.
Okay.
You know, because if we can get the money to cover by advertisements, so it's kind of self-sustaining, that would make sense. Because there's people that don't, you know, because I was kind of thinking it'd be nice to be able to kind of contact the public and see, are there any of you that are getting this that would like to get it, that wouldn't be able to get it online? Or, you know, even if you know, if we'd have known that on the last one, say,
The administration department?
Yeah, the door all the way there, you wanna knock on it and Connie will come and get you.
you know, you'd almost say, this is our last one, you'll now be able to see this online, and, you know, apparently we weren't able to do that.
No, so we were running around different ideas. There is the council unallocated. There's about 29,000 left in that one. If we did one more time and with a direction saying, hey, this is the last time we're gonna do this unless we start receiving comments that you really want it, or you want to receive it only email wise, we can put some, I'm just running another idea out there. This was one of the strategic planning objectives. So I hate to just walk away from it. So that's why we're bringing it up now rather than saying, okay, there's no more funds, let's walk away from it. But we know Kelly's position.
Have we had much feedback?
No. Relatively, yes. I mean, on different important items to people. We did get an election judge. We've had comments about different our items in there. Reminders, people saw it, and they did see good things, you know, certain aspects. People who wrote it definitely know that, you know, because they were asking for feedback kind of situations.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
But
How long would it take to line up advertising?
well, part of it is we'd probably do it through the newsletter. And I know, my understanding was that there was some discussion about a year ago and people were to contact Chip, but he didn't get any feedback.
Right.
So.
As far as advertising?
Yep, he didn't receive any comments at that point in time, but.
Do you want to know my comments?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it hadn't been budgeted for it, I'd have a hard time spending $2,500 a quarter on it myself when it's free to do online for now. And so I would have a hard time even saying that we should do the next one and spend that kind of money and borrow it from some other place that we didn't get. My only concern is it does take up staff time. So there is still somewhat of an expense as far as drafting the newsletter. And I don't know if this would have been, you know, I'm a fan of committees, but I'm not as far as input from the public, as far as, you know, assistance in maybe drafting the newsletter, assistance in people sort of seeking out advertisers, you know, but I guess my proposal, I would prefer that it be online the next time and not be in print, unless we could get something through BPU. And I realized, because I know we had this discussion, that's why I didn't go on to it too much, but I realized BPU, that was my very first thought, that maybe we could share the expense and have it advertise that this is the quarter that the newsletter is actually in the billing, but we would have to almost provide the mailing address labels, because there are so many more customers that they have that we don't have. So there's an expense there then too.
Okay. What about, I mean, did you guys talk about it thoroughly during your budgeting process last year? Is it something we want to talk about during our budgeting process here? Maybe we look at twice a year. We don't have to do 4 times a year.
You know, I think it's valuable enough to look at. I'd hate to see it just be dead in the water.
Right. Well, and it's so new that and that's one of the things we talked about. I just don't think we've conditioned people to realize that that we have a city newsletter. You know, so it is fairly new. You know, and one of the discussions that I had is looking even online. There was the disagreement that the only one I could find was October, November, December of last year on the city website. But it was in 2 different spots, and I only found the one, and apparently all 3 were actually on there. So there's just some confusion even on the website. So there just needs to be some more streamline everywhere.
You know, I think getting information out to the public is good and it's valuable, and I think that's one of the reasons why it was one of our goals and something we discussed. I mean, I'd be very interested to hear what the other council members have to say. I mean, my recommendation would be put it online, look at the advertising. I mean, I know it does take up staff dollars, but it was one of our goals.
Right.
And,
Yep. But yeah.
you know.
But I wouldn't want to see it just go away. I guess
Right.
what I'm saying is that until we budget for it next year.
I mean, I'm a little disappointed that we kind of, you know, I think it was the changing of the guard, so to speak, that we ran out of budgeting to send it before we were able to say, you know, please watch for this online. That would have been the perfect scenario, but that is
How
gone.
about a one line in the Watts News? Don't forget our newsletter is now available online. Instead of putting the newsletter in the PUC what's news.
Oh, I
Just
see.
put a link.
Yeah,
Very good
I
I
idea.
like that. That's kind of
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, so I mean.
A nice bridge.
Take some of the, and certainly, one of the articles in the next newsletter should be, if you want to see this in print, we need your advertising.
I think we
need your
need to
fin-
make sure that.
We need your
they-
financial support.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
And we can put some, and my point was to talk about it here, we can put a memorandum together for the whole council to look at, so. Do you want to talk to them tonight?
No, I think we
Calls.
can make this vote tonight.
I think the other thing that's
No,
important when you look at tech stuff is have some non-tech person
Right.
try to access it, because you know what their presets and what makes sense to the people that design it sometimes is a little different from what a non-tech person would think is common sense.
Yep,
So,
Well, the other part of that specific strategic plan was to develop the, upgrade the city website. That hasn't been done. Part of it is staffing wise, we are stretched thin there. The county, through the process of the state, we're moving the police over to its own self rather than the county doing that. And when that happens, we are going to be short-staffed. There's just no question about that, so we're going to we are looking at methodologies of improving that, which won't be inexpensive, so.
we could do anything if we had the money. I
Engineering
think we
always
could
do
just, can we make a motion on this newsletter?
Yeah.
I'll see what I
See,
can.
either of you want to put it together in your own words, or?
Do you want to? Go
Sure.
for it.
I make a motion that we place a notice in the Watts News indicating that our newsletter will now be online, and that in the next edition of the newsletter, we request input to see if people would prefer a hard copy of it or if it's okay online. And the other thing that I think we should pursue is look at advertisement to bring it back in hard copy without having extra cost to the city.
And possibly budgeting for next year in the event.
And yeah, and look at it in budgeting for next year.
And I would second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hire the engineering tech. We've got a memo here as to who they want to hire.
James
Right
Reed.
now.
Ron Brecker.
James Reed.
Is this a consent calendar item?
No, because we did not make the decision, or we didn't get the last of the evaluations done, so we need your action tonight.
Okay, but this is a budget item, correct?
It is
Because
budgeted,
It's
not
just to
consent.
replace a guy?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on the memo? This is the one we got with your sticky post-it right on it.
That is.
To hire
James Reed is in the.
James Reed, engineering tech
Secretary.
position, subject to completion of required
Pre-employment.
pre-employment exams with tentative start date of June 23rd. Recommended starting pay be established at 85% base rate.
If you recall, the one individual he's replacing gave us 3 days' notice.
Right.
This one was nice enough to say, by the way, I need to talk to my supervisor, current one, so that I can work with him on this pre-employment, and he's top-notch that way, so. Good recommendations all the way around.
Good.
Okay.
So.
No further questions. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation as
Motion
presented?
approved?
Second.
Any further discussion? Welcome, Mr. Mayor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any others?
No, sir.
Let's go terrorize SPW.
Could I bring up something?
No, absolutely, before we go.
I've got-
Mr. Mayor,
I've
please.
got 3 voting members, plus I've also got our city administrator.
Let me
Yes.
see if I have the resolution you're gonna talk about. Yes, I did.
I got a call today,
Yes.
and I'm sure there's more than one maybe, but a gentleman called me and
Oh, yeah.
for the, if you got a rental, you gotta pay $32, and it's supposed to be postmarked by June 1st. Okay? By resolution, we evidently adopted that resolution.
Yes.
Okay. Sunday was July 1st. Most
June
government,
1st.
or June 1st. Most government entities allow you, if it's on a Sunday, to take care of the business on Monday. A lot of them do, not all of them maybe. Anyway, the guy came in to pay the bill for his thing, and they said, no, it's not postmarked, and if it had been put in the mail Friday or Saturday, it would not have been delivered until today.
At the soonest today.
Huh?
Could be, at the soonest today. Could have been delivered Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, the fact that they would not accept the money. Oh, by the way, there's a $500 penalty because you're a day late. Now, there's such a thing as black and white, and there's also gray. And as far as I'm concerned, if we're gonna treat citizens, and he had several weeks' notice. I mean, he got it in the mail that it's
April
due by
24th, it was mailed to
June
him.
1st, you know, that to me, to penalize somebody $500 because he brought it in the same day it would have been delivered by the post office, to me is not right.
If I can clarify a couple of points. It wasn't a flat fee, it's $25 per unit. He has 19 units. He called me also, and I talked to staff to see what the situation was so that I could get brought up to speed. He has 19 units, it's $475. Also, last year, it should be noted, June 1st was on a Saturday, and we didn't run into this problem. This same individual who had the problem, though, a couple of years back, this group has had a problem, they were fined, they had a higher fee for being late. So that's partially why it's there. But staff did follow the letter of the law. Staff did not circumvent the resolution that was adopted by the city council, which I would have a bigger problem if they did that.
Right.
Thank you. So, but when there's deadlines, there's deadlines. And we at $475, we followed the procedures. But I think the mayor's saying he'd like us to reconsider.
I think, personally I would, because I think the fact that he delivered on the same day that the post office would have delivered, to me, is, what that says is one thing, but I mean, if he had a postal uniform on, there would have been no problem.
It does say postmark no later than June 1st, but we did mail this out. The other part of that, if someone interrupt the mayor, we did mail his initial notice out to him April 24th. He's had more than 2
Ample
weeks.
time. I know, I realize,
Is this the same group that was late before?
They were late back in 2009 is the last time that they were late. It's not their first time being late.
but that's 5 years ago.
Yep. And once you open that door, so.
I met this gentleman today, and I suggested that he come to, I mean, at this point, he is late and the fees are due. That's what I said, technically. But on the other side of the coin, I understand and sympathize with the mayor saying, and suggested that he come to the council. I even suggested that he come this evening, at the very least to try and get on as an other to one of the committees. And I told him I would help him do that, and he chose not to. Or at least as far as I know so far, has chosen not to. He may still be here this evening.
Well, I told him that I was going to plan on bringing it up.
Yeah, all right, well, I think it should be brought up, but I almost think it should be an agenda item, because I think there is a little bit more to the story as far as historical.
And I know that the council adopted a resolution, so I mean, it's very specific, and the notices go out. So like I say, if he'd had a postal uniform on when he walked in the door this morning, there would have been no problem.
I haven't made up my mind, but I've had other things that had to be postmarked, and it's not that hard to go to the post office and make sure it's postmarked. I mean,
Just
it's.
think of your IRS.
James brought up
Right.
that, and that's a
I'm
little
okay with
overdone
this.
otherwise.
Sure. Why don't you talk to Mr. Parks? Will he let it go on the agenda?
I'd like to have a quorum.
You know?
Yeah, we can't discuss this anymore, because we now have a quorum with Mr. Parks here, but you can't. And anything else on personal and finance? Okay, then we are adjourned to go.